meeting of the Parks and Recreation Intergenerational Services Commission at 6:01 p.m. The first thing we do is we do communication, correct?
I will do roll call.
Roll call. Thanks for the reminder.
Mr. Jan?
Present.
Mr. Reed? Commissioner Ahmad?
Present.
Commissioner Altamirano?
Present.
Castro? Commissioner McKee?
Present.
Commissioner Schatzel?
Present.
Do we have
Fantastic. Okay, I will move on to item 1A under General Administration Functions. This would be presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdictions of the Commission. The Commission is prohibited, just as a reminder to those listening or planning to speak, we're prohibited by law from discussing issues not on the agenda brought to us at this time. Do we have any comment? I know we received a public comment. Help me out, and do we speak on that, or is someone planning to speak in the meeting?
I have not received word that anyone is making a comment. I did receive one, Sheila, and that is shared on the city's website.
But we're not allowed to comment. Is that correct? How do we proceed with that?
Sure, Jans, you don't need to discuss or provide a comment. If you have any questions regarding the comment that you want to direct towards staff, you can do that. Otherwise, it's just there for the record.
Well, I mean, the only question would be just to understand that staff has received the comment, and if there's any feedback that staff could provide on it, that would be helpful.
Good evening, everyone. Paul Reyes here. I did receive the email, the comment, and yes, the basic information we sent out a few weeks ago was really just the lap swimmers, somewhat vague, but in terms of providing updated information with now summer close to being over and going to off-season hours, and with the school district now back in school, and letting people know that hours are going to change, and also in addition to sharing lanes. So those were the two topics: shared lanes and hour changes. With the the COVID and pandemic now kind of subsiding, and we're moving forward with things, and then obviously just recently we got pulled back again with the mask, but all of that was intended to provide information. We didn't have all the information because we didn't know what the school was going to do yet. Now that we do know what the school is going to do, we are preparing to provide more information with dates and times and the reasons why we are moving to these hours. School's back in, water polo's beginning. So obviously we're going to have to cut back a little bit, but we are looking at different options to maintain lap swim 5 to 6 days a week.
All right, fantastic. Appreciate the update, and thank you, Sheila, for the comment. Moving on to item 1B, which is Commissioner Communications. Does any commissioners have anything they'd like to share regarding events or anything? Commissioner Schatzel?
Thank you. Everybody hear me okay? Yeah, good, thanks. I had an opportunity to attend the mayor's bicycle parade on the 4th of July at Summerfield Park, which was a lot of fun. Then I went back 2 weeks later, and the pathway has been completely re-asphalted at Summerfield. So thank you, staff. We appreciate that very much. I did touch base with Chris at the Senior Center just to find out how they're doing in the COVID. And she told me that they're calling other agencies to get some ideas and share some ideas of their own, and to see what they're doing with that population in the COVID and the closing of buildings, etc. And I suggested she call the city of Morgan Hill and Gilroy just to get a different perspective outside Yolo County and Sac County. But she was, as Chris always is, very enthusiastic, very excited, couldn't wait to get information from other organizations. And I was happy to hear that in a tough time for seniors in the senior center. I did go to the Heritage Oaks Park opening. That was also a lot of fun. I'm really happy to see the work the folks are doing to preserve the oak trees. I mean, that's one of the reasons that land was designated as a park, to try to save those oak trees. And they really seem to be doing a great job there. I appreciate that. And finally, on behalf of the Sac Titters girls softball program staff, we very much appreciate everything the Parks and Recreation staff have done for our organization in using the fields at Bright Park and Alice Norman. So thank you very much for all the work you've done for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schatzel. Commissioner Ahmad, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, thank you. I also had a chance to go to the Heritage Park opening days. I told staff and Tracy that I live right across the street. So I just moved in to my new home right across the street from that park. I too am very much, not only because I'm a neighbor now, but because I've seen the work that's been put into this park, and it's a real gem, I think, in this community, and it has so much potential. One of the stories I told Tracy was that I had a college friend from the Bay Area come and visit me, only briefly, and just seeing that park, just like, I want to move across the street, and I'm like, oh, there's a couple of houses for sale, like in this neighborhood, and she's like, no, I want to live right across, just like you do. I can see the trees. So the staff, past and present, the fact that you all had the foresight to preserve this land, these trees, I think is very meaningful for our area, for our city, and I can see it being just like, growing in value in so many ways. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for all the work that staff did, writing all the details and images. My kids had a lot of fun putting stickers over all the different options for park amenities. Honestly, I wanted to put a sticker on every single one. There's just so many cool options. But it was thoughtful. I really appreciated the kind of options that residents had and have. And of course, the people that run Treetop are great too, and Kale and all that. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing more of Heritage Oaks and Treetop kind of grow. And secondly, I wanted to communicate soccer season is going to kick off pretty soon, and that'll be after a 1-year hiatus for the recreation things. So that'll be interesting because we all know that things are kind of heating back up with, unfortunately, with the Delta variant and stuff. But I work closely. I've been a coach for West Sac Soccer Club, and whatever we can do on the West Sac Soccer Club end to make that transition smooth into like fall season and using the park facilities and all that, please let me know, and I can communicate it with them, and vice versa, whatever they can do for you all. But yeah, it'll be interesting and challenging, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ahmad. Commissioner Altamirano, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, this is kind of going back to the Rex the comment from the public. Again, sports and fitness has been taking a large hit. Obviously, a constant state of limbo. I was involved with River City High School wrestling this year, and getting information in real time was a real struggle. So I can imagine that's been the same with the rec center itself, mirroring the school district and sports in general. So I can understand the miscommunications and not getting it out quick enough for the general public. For instance, this season we had we were supposed to start practice in November. We had 1 day of practice, and then 2 hours later, we got an email to shut down for 2 months. So it's been a real struggle for sports in general. I'm sure we're all looking forward to having a normalcy, but that's still going back and forth. So it's just something we have to deal with for the next couple of months, hopefully. But everybody's looking forward to getting into rec center, getting into sports, and doing what they can to get out. So yeah, that's the way it is for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Altamirano. Commissioner Reed, you have your hand up.
Thank you. And first, I apologize for being late. I had a heck of a time signing in. But on Saturday, I attended the fundraiser and concert at one of our Three Sisters urban farm location. And Mayor Guerrero was also there, as well as many of our residents and folks and organizations were represented from throughout the community. And I just wanted to emphasize the importance of our urban farms for providing fresh produce and vegetables and making them available to our folks throughout the community. And it also raised the issue with me that we have now pending some monies that came in for the relief program, the federal relief program that are coming to the city. And we have a proposal that has come in from the Center for Land-Based Learning that has many of our urban farms here in the city. And they're working very hard to improve and increase food security within our community and make sure our families and our children have access to fresh and nutritious food. They recently launched a mobile farmers market. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's been serving some of our multifamily housing as well as some of our communities that have more limited access to fresh and nutritious food. So I just wanted to encourage everyone's support and recognition of the good work that's being done within our community to benefit our residents. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Reed. I'll jump in and provide some communications. So we are finally, I always give a Little League update this time of year, so I'll update on kind of where we went with the West Sacramento Little League. We actually were, I think I mentioned in a previous meeting, we were selected to host the 12U All-Star Tournament, which is kind of a big deal for the league and for West Sacramento, because it's the gateway to the Little League World Series. It was the district tournament, so that means it was West Sacramento facing off against teams from basically north of Highway 80. So we had North Natomas. I think there was well, I won't name them all, but there was I think 4 or 5 teams that participated. But leading up to that event, I just want to recognize the park staff and the communication between the Little League and city staff to dress the fields and get them as prepared as possible. The Little League has kind of a set of requirements handed down from the district of things that have to be in place. You know, we have to have a flag raised. We have to have certain shade structures up. There's areas that need to be coned off. You know, there's height for the pitcher's mound and things like that. So there's all these requirements to make it fair all around the league. And we worked together with the city staff and the maintenance crews. They did a fantastic job. I mean, even the mowers were mowing with a roller back behind them so we could get like that diamond crisscross in the grass. We put down, the Little League volunteers put down some seed and dirt that was provided by the city to fill in some areas that kind of had died off. A lot of work and effort went into the tournament, and it went off perfectly without a hit. So I just want to thank everyone involved in that and really appreciate the communication between the community and city staff. I think that's something that should be recognized, definitely. And I also was able to attend the Heritage Oaks feedbacks event. I got to see some people from city staff and talk about ideas, and I really appreciate just that that formality that the city goes through to allow the community to provide feedback on items like that. I think it really shows what makes West Sacramento one of the best cities to live in this area, because you not only get all these great projects that are coming up, but you also get to provide input and ideas and really kind of feel like you take some ownership over that part. And I really like what's being put forth too. I agree, I think, with Commissioner Ahmad, who said it was so many things to choose from and they were all great. You know, I wish, like, I think I got 3 stickers to provide my input and I wanted about 13 of them. But I really love the natural vibe, the trees that are there. I think that was one of my comments, was to kind of keep it natural, because it really looks great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes to fruition and how it's developing. So thank you again for the opportunity to allow all of us to participate in that. That's all I have. Any other comments or communications? All right, seeing none, going back to the agenda here. I think we move on to approve the minute, correct? I lost my list here. Here it is. Yes, item 2, consent agenda, consideration of approval of the minutes for the June 1st regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Yeah, I saw Commissioner Ahmad. Motion, is there a second? Vice Chair Reed?
Second.
Okay, any opposed? All right, the motion carries to approve the minutes. We're flying right along. Now moving on to the regular agenda, item 3, consideration of approval. Oh wait, we need a roll call, don't we? Okay. I'm getting it, I'm learning.
No problem. Commissioner Ahmad,
Aye.
Commissioner Altamirano,
Aye.
Commissioner Castro, Commissioner McKay,
Aye.
Vice Chair
Aye.
Castle,
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now moving on to item 3 in the regular agenda is consideration of approval of the naming of Lenny and Kitty Triboli Park. Tracy Mike.
Good evening, Chair Jans, members of the commission, Tracy Michael, Parks and Recreation Director, and I'm very pleased to be bringing this park naming application to you for consideration. Just a little bit of background on the property and Lenny and Kitty Triboli. In November of 2019, a small vacant parcel in the Westmore Oaks neighborhood located at 1028 Fernwood Street was listed for sale. The photo of the site is actually behind me. The city was very interested in purchasing the site so that it can remain basically as it is, a great asset for the community, a pocket park, as it were. And it was originally intended for a single family residential home, but it was never developed. The property owner failed to maintain the lot, and over time it became home to illegal dumping, overgrown weeds, and generally created a blight for the neighborhood. To combat this, over 50 years ago, neighbors Lenny and Kitty Triboli began caring for the property. They planted grass, flowers, and all of the trees on site, and have since paid for the trees to be pruned and removed as needed. They've mowed, edged, and watered the site, investing their own time and money to improve and maintain the property. What was once a blighted property is now a beautiful space for neighbors to visit and enjoy, thanks to the thoughtfulness and the generosity of the Tribolis. The city was successful in purchasing the site, and in 2021, we took over maintenance of the property and recently installed irrigation, and we're getting power to the site so that it's connected to our citywide irrigation system. I'm sure Lenny and Kitty are enjoying a much needed break from all of the landscaping work, And the adjacent neighbors who kindly donated their water are enjoying much lower water bills. Per the city's facility naming policy, well, in June of 2021, we received an application from Carol Bassey. So Carol, Lenny, and Kitty are both here with us tonight. And Carol submitted the application to name this recently acquired property after Lenny and Kitty Triboli, based on their history of lovingly caring for the site, but really for over 5 decades. Per our naming policy, all applications that are received to name facilities or properties need to be screened by myself first, and if deemed suitable, shared with this commission for review and approval to advance to the City Council for consideration and final approval. This proposed naming meets criteria number 3 of our city facility naming guidelines, which identifies the names of individuals, families, or organizations who've made a significant contribution to the community. Lenny and Kitty are definitely individuals who've made a significant contribution to our community, and specifically this property on Fernwood Street. We would all be lucky to have neighbors as great as Lenny and Kitty. And I want to personally thank Carol for recognizing her neighbors and the contribution that they've made to the community. I know Carol's application reflects the thoughts and interest of so many other people who have enjoyed the site and witnessed the Triboli family firsthand caring for the property. Because of this, I am happy to recommend that the commission approve a formal recommendation to council to name the property located at 1028 Fernwood Street, the Lenny and Kitty Triboli Park. Lenny and Kitty and Carol are here with us tonight. And so I would, if they'd like to say anything to the commission, I would love to give them an opportunity to do so. And they can also answer any questions that you might have as well as I can. Thank you.
Lenny, you want to thank folks for taking care of it now?
Yes, I really want to thank the Park Commission and everybody involved for acquiring the property. My dad, when I first started to take care of the lot, which, you know, was really quite something, my dad said, don't do that, you'll be doing it forever. Well, I can look up now and he can look down and see how beautiful it is. So, but I really thank the neighborhood, many neighbors and the people that we use the water from their hoses, drank the hoses over there to water the lot. Some of them edged it, and many of these people are now gone, and they helped me and to do it. And then my wife has been very supportive, and Carol has been very supportive, and many neighbors. I want to thank everybody.
Thank Edwin
and Edwin and the crew, the people that mow and take care of it now. They do a wonderful job. I like going over and talking to them and sharing with them. And I think everybody can use something in the community, whatever pulls up for you to do it. Just go ahead and do it. And, you know, it's great. But thanks again to everyone. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Fantastic. And I just want to say that this is why I love the Parks Commission. Stories like these are what make it exciting. And I think it's fantastic. And thank you so much for what you did all these years at this park. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. So do we have any other comments? I see Commissioner Ahmad.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you, Lenny and Katie, for all your work. There's a quote that comes to mind. It was my husband used to live in Chiapas in Mexico, and the Zapatista said that there's no path without walking, and you all made a path. You made this happen without, and I think it's really inspirational. And so I hope my question to Tracy was, will there be like a little ceremony to dedicate the park to them?
Yes, we will do something. We're going, as soon as we get council approval, we'll have a sign made, and we'd love to do an event on site, at least when we install the sign. We hope that we'll have an opportunity to make some other park improvements in the near future, we might want to consider, some improvements like some seating and maybe another pathway, certainly with the input from the residents in that neighborhood. But I know there's a real interest in having some benches there that might be able to be named after other loved ones in the neighborhood, that are no longer with us, in order to honor them. So we will certainly, though, have an event when we have the park sign made and installed.
And one more thing that whenever it gets approval, I would love for any ceremony, if you all have any pictures of the park over the years, since it's a 50-year project. I think would be a neat historical touch, because this is something that you all have been doing over a lifetime. That'd be really neat.
Great.
We'll say one of the pieces of information that Lenny provided to me was a list of all of the trees he planted on site and the year. And we thought it would be really nice to have little plaques installed for each of the trees with the date that they were installed. That's like one example of a way that we could celebrate some of the history of that site. And Lenny and Kitty, we'll have to get together to see if you have any photos that you'd be willing to share that we can put into a collage for an on-site event.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific idea. Great idea, Commissioner Mott. Any other comments? So are we looking for a motion on this? Oh, I missed it. Hang on, I actually moved my screen here. I was going to go back to the agenda. Where am I missing? Oh, Commissioner Schatzel, go ahead.
All right, thanks. I haven't learned how to put up the little hand yet. I have to learn how to do that, like the other commissioners do. I was reading the guidelines and for the naming procedures, and having been involved in the Historical Society in West Sacramento, they work really hard to preserve the history of this community, the people, the land, the dates, the when the trees are planted. And it says under the guidelines that the West Sacramento Historical Society will verify any historical claims made. If this gets to the city council, I think it would be good to include in the application and the information to the city council support from the Historical Society in a letter form, if that's not too much to ask. And then, of course, any information that the Tribole family and staff would share with the society that they could file would also be really beneficial, because people always ask, well, how did this lot come about? And if there's a file somewhere in the society, they can answer the question. And I think that would be great for the community. It also talks about the name in the guidelines, the names that preserve the history of West Sacramento. Well, all of the people that worked on the park should be in that file too. So if we could do all of that, I think that would be terrific. Thank you.
Good idea. Did you have a comment, Mr. Tribole? I think you're on mute.
We were saying that most of the people who have helped have all passed away.
Oh,
All right, any other?
Thing.
Go ahead.
I'd like to thank Tracy for all of the work that she's done on this. She's been so helpful. And I am looking forward to her seeing what seats and benches she could put over there, because I would certainly like to have my son, who worked for West Sacramento for 30 years, and he just passed away, and I would like to have his name on one of the plaques that goes on the seat. His name was Alan Elliott.
Tracy, is that possible?
Yes, absolutely. That would be part of a near-term plan to identify what kind of improvements we can make on the site, making sure that they're ADA accessible and bench locations and other items that the neighborhood might like to see. It is a smaller site, but it can still accommodate some really nice amenities in addition to the beautiful landscaping that's already there. So we just have to go through a planning process to identify where improvements can be made, and even identifying bench locations. And then I think it would be a great idea if there was room for one or more benches to allow people in the community to propose naming for those people who may have been involved in the sites or in that neighborhood.
Good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, all fantastic input. Any other comments? Questions? All right. Well, do we have a motion to approve the item on the agenda?
So move.
Commissioner Schatzel, we have a second.
I'll second.
I saw Commissioner Altamirano, and I believe that was Commissioner Ahmad.
Roll call. Commissioner Ahmad? Commissioner Ahmad, one more.
Aye.
Commissioner Altamirano?
Aye.
Commissioner McKay?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Aye, and let's not forget the historic side.
Aye. All right. So moving on to the director's report, which is item number 4 in our agenda.
Thank you. Well, I have a few items to update. As many of you mentioned, we held the Heritage Oaks Park Master Plan open house events last week, one on Thursday morning and one on Friday afternoon. And it was a great event to kick off the master planning effort for the park. We had, we also have an online survey, and we had an on-site scavenger hunt. Both mechanisms to provide additional input on the plan, similar to the in-person sticker priority exercise. We had over 100 people, 100 adults attend the event, and there were a lot of kids that came as well. And it was really fun to see the youth wandering around the site, either playing the Agents of Discovery game or participating in the scavenger hunt. But we've already had over 200 online survey responses completed. So we're getting a lot of great feedback. There's still time to complete the survey. So if you or anyone you know might be interested, you can go to westsacfund.org. There's a link to the survey on our website, and we will be drawing names for people to be entered to win either a family 4-pack to the ropes course or a free month at the rec center. So we're really excited to get that moving. Also, for that site, it is a very strong contender for another Prop 68 funded grant program, the Rural Recreation and Tourism Grant Program, that provides up to $3 million in funding for projects that recreation-inspired projects that create accessible trails or pathways for wildlife viewing or other significant draws. It can be anything nature related. It can also be the ropes course, amphitheaters that support performing arts or other educational or cultural opportunities, as well as other items, are all eligible uses. So we will be applying for grant funding for this site, which is one of the reasons why we requested a special commission meeting in mid-September, so that we would be able to receive input from the commission to inform a final concept plan in time to submit the application, which is due the first week of November. So we're very excited about that opportunity. I also wanted to share that the Delta Conservancy Board last week approved a grant award for the Southport Levee Planning and Design Project. This grant amount was almost $350,000. That would include all of the planning, the design, the permits, and environmental to pave the top of the Southport Levee Trail. So as you are aware, we're in the process of finalizing the designs for the Southport Levee Trailhead site. So to have a trailhead with an accessible path that leads up to a trail that is not accessible was a little bit of a challenge. We were hoping that we would get grant funding to move forward and design and eventually pave the top of that levee trail. So we have 5.6 miles of continuous accessible trail for our community. So step one is now underway, the planning and design. We're really excited about that. It positions us to be competitive for construction grant funding when it's available. The project is anticipated to take 2 years to complete, and the next step is to take an actual grant agreement between the city and the Delta Conservancy to council for approval so that we can accept the funds and move forward with the project. I wanted to congratulate Commissioner Reed. On July 27th, Yolo County Board of Supervisors approved the nomination of Commissioner Reed as the District 1 representative to the recently established Yolo County Climate Action Committee. She has a wealth of educational, professional, and personal experience that will serve our community and the county well in creating a new climate action plan for the county. So thank you, Suzanne. And then lastly, I wanted to announce that Sam Cooney, our superintendent of parks operations, is retiring in October. So we have a few months left. We'll be working to recruit for his position. He leaves very big shoes to fill, but we are hoping to get somebody on board while Sam is still here so that he can assist with cross-training before he retires. And we wish him well, and we'll make sure that he makes a guest appearance at your next commission meeting. And that concludes my updates.
Marie, did you have a comment?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Tracy. That was a surprise, but yeah, I wanted to thank our supervisor for appointing me to the Climate Action Commission, and I will certainly be coming back to you all with some updates of what's happening there. We're probably not going to convene until September, so there won't be any news on that front yet. But I'm very appreciative for the appointment. I did have a question about the survey that you noted, and I wondered, because the survey's in English, what additional efforts have been taken to reach out to our Latino and Russian heritage residents about their point of view.
That's a good point. I'll double check to confirm, but in using SurveyMonkey, you can select your language. And in most of the promotion material that we do, you also have the option to select the language for translation. But I will just double check to make sure that that is an option. We do try to translate everything into Russian and Spanish. So, and we really haven't made any hard copies of anything. Everything's been QR code and a website link. So I will double check on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the update. Moving on to item 4B. Any future item requests from any commissioners?
Oh, I do.
Go ahead.
I was interested in the activities any activities surrounding the use of the American Recovery Plan funds, which I think, as people know, are in the aftermath of COVID, trying to improve and in many cases compensate those who experience loss of employment, loss of business, and those kinds of things, and also to address the long-term well-being and resiliency of our community, and whether any decisions or any process have been established regarding those funds.
I will have to check on that. I know there's several different programs. Nothing really comes to mind in terms of Parks and Recreation, our department, but I know that there are efforts underway related to childcare and eviction protection and food distribution. So I'll reach out to some other staff to see if I can get some information.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Ramon?
So my request, I guess, is based kind of inspired by Lenny and Kitty. They worked on this blighted property in their neighborhood and transformed it into something amazing and wonderful. And what's the process now? For instance, there are certain pockets and areas of the city, certainly my old neighborhood. I mean, that's kind of what inspired my getting involved with the commission. Was we had a similar blighted property still there on the corner of Jefferson next to the Rotary Park. That's been an eyesore forever. And so, like, I was wondering, kind of, is there a place where the average West Sacramentan can go online, or like, who's the person to contact? And they have like an idea. I know there's ways to like connect the city staff, but specifically around this thing where there's private ownership over, and I know it with the property on the corner of Jefferson and Michigan, it's like partially public owned and like the city owned, and partially private owned. So like, kind of, my question is, the average person wants to like do something about it. Where do they start? Who do they go to make this happen? Because I know that from my experience, I reached out in 2015 and that eventually got me involved with this commission, but I never got anywhere with actually moving forward with that property and making it into something different.
So I can provide a little bit of feedback. We help to facilitate, the Parks and Recreation Department helps to facilitate volunteer cleanup efforts throughout the city. And we work very closely with our Environmental Services Division. They do have some resources that we tap into, including pickers and buckets and gloves that we offer. We coordinate with our park staff to circle back and do pickup of any waste collected. And so we do that quite often. So people can contact our department, but generally it's on public property. We really don't work on private properties unless the private property owner is involved and has authorized access to the property. So if there's a community interest in making improvements to a private property, the private property owner has to work with those community members and allow access. That's kind of beyond what the city would do right now. We don't have a lot of capacity to support a lot of volunteer efforts, so we do our best to work with businesses or other organizations that want to do larger scale projects, but generally over the last year and a half, it's been primarily focused on just cleanup activities. We've got some groups that sponsor our trails, and they'll do cleanup, and sometimes we'll try to schedule park maintenance staff to do some cleanup work in advance of groups coming out or immediately following up, so that we can really leverage the investment that these volunteers have offered to our community. But we haven't done any larger scale volunteer efforts really since pre-COVID, and generally they're focused on public property.
Helpful. I guess my question then is, what kind of resource can the city be to people to be a bridge between that private ownership. Like if there's somebody that owns private land and they don't know who it is or can't contact them, is there some, can a city serve as a resource to help, can we get those folks communicating the neighbors and then the property owner?
I'd have to check with code enforcement on that to see. A lot of times when there's interest like this, it might be on a property that might have, some other challenges that code enforcement might be involved with, and I'm not sure what kind of privacy requirements there are. So I'd have to check back to see about that.
Any other future requests from the commission? I have a question and I guess somewhat of a request. So with the changes in Yolo County's policy, I know we were planning on potentially getting back together as a commission in person. However, I'm actually on vacation right now with my family, so the Zoom capability is helpful in this case, so I can continue to attend. Obviously, this pandemic seems to change requirements frequently, so there's no way to predict where we'll be in October, which is our next meeting, right? Well, actually, September we have the special meeting. I don't know if we'll be able to be in person by then or not, but I wasn't sure if it's even allowed to attend remotely going forward if we were to have some sort of a hybrid commission. I don't know if that's even allowed for somebody who wants to attend but maybe is away on business or whatever the situation is, but they want to attend, be a part of the meeting. Is it possible? Do we have the capability or the facilities, the equipment to be able to participate remotely while people are in session? So I was just curious about that going forward, if that could be a possibility, if it was allowed. And then, of course, if there's a plan for the commission to meet in person September.
Yes, so good questions, Chair Jans. I don't know when we'll be back meeting in person again. We're kind of following the lead from the council, and right now the council's continuing to meet via Zoom. There was a strong interest in trying to start meeting in person in August, but we've pulled back on that a little bit. So I don't know what the timing is, but I know that there is a strong interest to resume meeting in person. So I'll let you know as soon as that's an option for us. In terms of having a hybrid model, one of the things our city attorney's been looking into is how that works with the noticing requirements. Right now, if you have a commission member or council member that wants to participate in a meeting off-site, notices must be posted at that location, that off-site location. And it has to be done for every person that might be participating remotely. And so that just creates some challenges. So we're working through that right now, and hopefully I'll be able to share some updated information with you before the September special meeting. And thank you all for those of you who can make it to that special meeting. I appreciate your flexibility.
Thank you. And I understand there may be some challenges. That's why I just wanted to kind of pose the question and maybe we can continue to discuss it in the future. I wasn't aware, obviously, of posting that. And then I think another potential drawback to having a hybrid model would be, participation, right? People who participate remotely when they could be in person, obviously you could have issues there. We would prefer, I'm sure, to have everybody in person when it's available versus remotely. So anyway, it was just a thought that I had, and since we've been meeting this way and it's been somewhat successful, if there was a way to continue to be a part of it if you're traveling or something like that. So thanks for the input. Any other comments? All right. Well, moving on to adjournment, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to volunteer your time to this commission. I really enjoy being a part of it, and I think we all do. That's why we're doing this. So thank you, city staff and everyone involved. if there's no other comments, then we can adjourn the meeting at 6:51. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, a motion. Good.
I second.
Motion, Commissioner.
That's correct.
Right.
Naramon,
Aye.
Commissioner Alfano.
Aye.
Commissioner McTighe,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye. Aye. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you, Trebolis.
I